Hello and welcome to the fourth edition of Free Beer. I'm your host, Rory, and with me today is someone who looks immaculately like myself, Kid Twist.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're looking good.
Yeah,
Looking good.
thank you. So, I went to school for film, so it's been nice to watch myself write a feature film.
Right.
So thank you for fulfilling that dream for me.
I hope is that I can achieve a level of fame in Hollywood where you can pretend you're me to get laid at bars.
Yeah,
That's my goal, really.
So, when did you start writing Bodied, and when did it start taking form?
So Bodied came about. It's actually a crazy story. So Joseph Kahn, I mean, as probably most people watching this will know, he's been into battle rap for a long time. Like in his movie Before Body Detention, he cast Dumbfounded, he cast Organic, and that was just on the strength of knowing them from the battle rap world. Mm-hmm. So he's been a fan, and I know that he was a fan of my battles specifically because he's like mentioned things on Twitter and stuff like that. But just about 3 years ago, May 2015, I got a random message on Twitter from Joseph that just said, "Hey, do you write film scripts?" So I was kind of like, yeah, definitely.
To anyone going to school for film, that doesn't happen.
Right? No,
don't expect that.
Yeah,
to
this
happen
is definitely the craziest series of events that have ever led to a movie getting made. So I said yes, which was not a total lie because I studied creative writing in school and I'd studied screenwriting as part of that. But I hadn't been, like, in my writing that I've been doing, it was the novel that I worked on and then short stories and essays. Like, I hadn't been working on screenwriting since university. But Joseph and I started talking, and so now that I know more of the story, I didn't know this at the time, but he had just had the Taylor Swift Bad Blood music video come out. He had just done the Power Rangers short film that went super viral, that Madness was in, actually. So that's another battle rapper.
Madness was in that?
Yeah,
Oh.
If you rewatch it, he had a great line. He played one of the guys who used to bully the Power Rangers in high school, and then he robs and pistol whips one of them and says, "I'm getting a little tired of you cunty fucks," which is an amazing line that I'm quite certain Madness improvised.
I was about to ask.
So Joseph just had a lot of like attention from those things that have been really big for him. So he was kind of like, all right, I can kind of do whatever I want for my next project. So he was just looking for a writer to work with. He wasn't even looking to make a battle rap movie at the time. But when he and I started talking, of course, we just started talking about battle rap because that's our connection. And the more we talked about it, he was like, man, I've always kind of wanted to do a battle rap movie. Why don't I get you to write that? So we had, I don't know, maybe like half a dozen Skype conversations where we just sort of talked about, okay, here are the things from the world of battle rap that we really feel would be great to have in a movie. Here are the themes that we would want to use this subject to talk about on a larger level. And then just sort of plotted out like an arc for the movie. And he was like, okay, so, this is your first time going through the screenwriting process. So we'll kind of co-write the movie. We'll work on it together. You can kind of learn the process. And I was like, great, that sounds amazing. And then I wrote the first 7 to 10 pages of the screenplay, just like the first couple scenes. And I sent it to him just as a test of like, okay, how do you feel about this? And he just wrote me an email back that said, fuck it, you just write the movie. So that was a big vote of confidence.
Like a dream come true, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I literally just wrote the movie. And I sent him a draft that was like the first act and then the second act kind of 2/3 done. And then I sort of hit a wall where I was like, all right, I've kind of deviated from what we had outlined and I don't really know how to finish it. So I just sent it to him to be like, all right, here's where it's at. And he read it while he was like sitting in an airport and basically live blogged it by sending me emails as he was reacting to the things in the script. He was just like, oh my God, the restaurant scene. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait till he gets to 2 scenes after this. And then 2 scenes after, he emailed me like, holy shit.
I know, I wrote that.
Yeah. So he was super into it, which was amazing. And he literally called me from the airport. And this just kind of speaks to his genius because he's so fucking insightful about this stuff and just figures out like exactly what themes you need to hit, exactly how the structure has to be to sort of like make a satisfying arc. But he called me from the airport and on the spot was just like, all right, I know exactly how the movie has to end, and like dictated, okay, here are all the points we need to hit to wrap up this story. And I'm like, shit, this is perfect. So I just took that, finished the screenplay, and that's, I mean, we worked on tons of other drafts. We were basically revising it from then until the final day of shooting. But in terms of the structure of it, that's basically what's in the movie.
Had you met him at that point? Like,
no,
it
was all over Skype. I didn't meet him in person until the first table read of the script.
Really?
Which was like a month before we started filming.
That's insane.
Yeah. And it was so funny because, obviously throughout, because I came down, I was in LA while we were filming too, or for most of the filming, for a month. And through that, I got to know the cast well, to the point where now we're all friends, which is incredible. But as we got to be friends towards the end of the process, they were kind of like, oh, so like how did you and Joseph meet? I'm like, well, that table read was the first time we met. They had no idea. They were like blown away. I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't tell you before, so you weren't like, what the fuck am I doing? But yeah, it was, we had kind of a great chemistry, and I think that he sees things in a way that I really understand, where he'll just say, oh, we need to hit like these 3 thematic points with this scene. And I'm like, of course, that's exactly what we need to hit. And because I get it, I can then write a scene that like speaks to exactly what he was envisioning. And he's like, perfect. So yeah, there's a really good like back and forth creative relationship, which is cool.
And it's perfect that he's a music video director. And so he's obviously a very visual oriented guy,
for sure.
So
yeah,
you could really write whatever kind of spectacle you wanted, and you'd turn it into something.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's never any trepidation of like, how is Joseph Kahn going to film this? It's like, he's gonna make it look fucking insane, because that's what he does for everything. It was funny too, and actually I had this conversation with Calum, who's the lead in the film. Like, when I wrote it, the way it reads on the page, it almost comes across as like a very indie comedy in a way. That's sort of the vibe of it. And that's how I was sort of picturing it in my head. And Kalen was like, yeah, that's how I was picturing it too when I read the script. But the way Joseph directed it, it goes to a whole other level, because he adds his visual style to that. So it looks like this huge budget production, even though it was made for, next to nothing in Hollywood terms. But yeah, so what he was able to do to like elevate that story just through the visuals is, even I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Battle rap is not boxing. It's a street fight.
Words are weapons.
We battle rappers. We battle each other and disrespect each other in the ring as rappers.
If you go off, you a legend for life.
Space to say obscenely racist things under the guise of competition.
You know how sensitive the climate is towards racism and appropriation. The administration is now under a lot of pressure to act.
Something that I'll never understand about this rap stuff is, to shoot this, shoot that.
Yo, shut the fuck up.
And I haven't seen the movie, but from what I've gathered, it might not be entirely autobiographical.
Right.
But there seems to be some direct parallels.
For sure, yeah. It's the way I put it, especially for people who know me through battle rap, is it's based on my archetype in battling. It's not based on who I actually am as a person. But that being said, oh man, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but basically there are, how can I put this?
When the main character kills disaster.
Right. You guys may not know this, but I am well versed in long-range tactical sniping, so that scene was completely from my own life. The way I'll put it is, there are critiques made of the main character and satirical elements that definitely wouldn't have been able to come from anyone but me, because it's sort of reflecting on being like a university educated white liberal and a lot of the bullshit that goes along with that. And, battle rap is a really interesting lens to kind of look at that stuff through, because it brings it into sharp relief with the sort of the brutal reality of battling.
Yeah, battling really is the exact opposite of a college campus.
Right.
Because college campus is like no one's trying to offend anybody.
Exactly.
You gotta
and
watch what you say, and then this guy walks into a rap battle. And it's just like, fuck you, you white piece of shit.
Yeah. So that's the dichotomy of the film. That's kind of like the engine driving the story, is the contrast between those two things. And it's really crazy that dichotomy has gotten so much worse in real life since I wrote this movie. Like, there are things that I wrote in there where I'm like, this is so outlandish, like no one's gonna believe this. And in the era of Donald Trump, it's so much worse than what I wrote in the movie. So now the movie almost seems tame in comparison to reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How did the rap scenes work? Because I mean, you used so many different actual battle rappers. Did they get to like do their own thing?
Yeah. So everyone in the movie who is a real rapper rewrote their own stuff. We didn't know how it was going to be in the beginning. So when I wrote the script, I wrote verses for everyone. But then obviously once Joseph started casting people, it's like, okay, we have Disaster and Dumbfounded and Hollow the Dawn and Loaded Lux and all these other guys. Clearly, they're going to be writing their own material.
I would love to see your Loaded Lux verse.
Well, the crazy thing is, like, everyone who rewrote their stuff, I actually spoke to everyone. I kind of like helped coordinate the writing of the verses and then putting them back in the script. And I told everyone, look, just like throw everything out, completely rewrite it. Like, I want it to be your thing. And with that being said, everyone kept like a couple lines that I had put in there. So I'm like, oh, that's fucking tight. Like, Loaded Lux rewrote his shit, but wanted to keep a few things I wrote, you know, like, that's cool. That's cool.
Was the line he kept like an observational joke about what the guy's wearing?
No, but it was a very like Kid Twist-esque joke. So it's very funny to see like Lux do it, because Lux is actually an incredibly funny guy. Like, he's a great comedian, which you'll see in the movie. So yeah, it was interesting to see him have like a bit of a different persona than he has in his real battles.
Yeah, and I've heard that he does a 2-on-2 with Hollow in the movie.
Yeah, I think we basically revealed that already in the trailers and stuff. But yeah, it's fucking amazing.
Jesus. And we were talking about before we started filming that now you're kind of in the transition of relocating to Los Angeles.
Yep.
And you're here for Drop the Mic.
Drop the Mic, yeah, that's the show I'm working on right now, which a lot of people probably know Roan and Carter Deems have worked on in the past. So part of why I'm here actually is because Roan is busy with his stuff at Barstool Sports in New York right now. So I'm like the replacement Roan, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, I'm super happy that I've been able to be involved in that. It's been great for me in terms of taking the next step in my writing career and actually being involved in a TV writing room. And I'd love to do stuff in the future that has nothing to do with battle rap, but I think that Bodied and now Drop the Mic will be great like launch pads for me to kind of transition from the battle rap side of things to just the writing side of things.
Did you ever think that your studies of writing and everything would actually end up like intersecting with like your battle rap hobby?
I don't know. To be honest, I guess I just never really thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of a white privileged piece of shit. I like literally never have to like think about what I'm doing in my life. I just kind of do things and everything works out perfectly for me. So.
And somehow the environment just agrees with
it. I mean, honestly, it sounds ridiculous when I say that, but that literally has been my experience in life. So I guess if anything, what I would think about it, it was kind of like these were two very different things I was doing, but they certainly informed each other, you know what I mean? Like two different creative outlets, but something that I would be doing in battle rap would help me think through like just the process of writing and being more concise with my words and stuff like that. And when I was approaching writing, you know, which of course involves a lot of reading of other authors, that just gives me more material to reference in my battles, or gives me ideas of different words to use and that kind of thing. So certainly they informed each other, and I looked at it that way. But I definitely never thought that literally battle rap would be my segue into the writing world.
Yeah, like in the WRCs when you're battling in that gigantic, mostly vacant room.
Yep,
like, There's no way you looked around and like, this is a movie.
This is my future right now. But what's funny is like Joseph loves the look of battles in warehouses like that. So all the battle scenes take place in those kinds of warehouses.
Really?
So actually that room from the WRC is probably like, I mean, the warehouses we got look way better than that, but that's like a very comparable space to where we shot a lot of the stuff, but with just a lot more people in there. I mean, we were paying them to be there, so if Jump Off had paid people $100 a day, probably they could have got some more, right? Like,
Yeah.
And it'll be the baddest spectacle when I use a bat to smash your testicles. I'll leave you brain dead just to make an organic vegetable. And you're such an ugly person. Watch me fucking serve him. You like my girl so much, you hooked up with the chubby version.
Yeah, Kyle said that he came and checked out the bunker at one point.
Yeah, they were thinking of using the bunker as one of the venues, but I think there just wasn't like enough space to kind of fit in all the cameras that he wanted and stuff like that.
And it was on fire at the time.
And it was on fire, yeah, also that. But like in the last battle scene, which is what we were looking at that venue for, like there's a big fucking crane shot of the battles and stuff. So yeah, it was just Joseph was looking for a big space to accommodate all that.
So how do you like Los Angeles?
Complicated question.
Or how do you dislike Los Angeles?
When I first started driving around here, I started thinking about all the Hollywood movies I've seen that have science fiction dystopias, because I always thought it was so crazy how people would envision this sort of Blade Runner-esque future. And then driving around LA, I was like, oh, they were literally just filming LA. Like, that's just what it looks like.
There was no CGI.
Yeah, no,
it was just
exactly.
a Wednesday in Los Angeles.
But now, having lived here for a month and a half, I've been really enjoying it, to be honest. Like, there are really cool pockets, and there's tons of really cool people here. So it just takes like some getting used to and some sort of like discovering where the areas are. Like in Toronto, it's just like, okay, where do we go in Toronto? I don't know, downtown. Great, you go downtown, you just walk around, and there's cool stuff.
Yeah,
here
it's kind of pneumonia, like, you go to bed.
Yeah, here it's like, where do we go? Okay, you go to like this restaurant in this plaza, like in this neighborhood specifically. That's like 4 square blocks, and that's really cool. But don't go like 1 block past there. So, you know, it's just different, but I have been enjoying it, and you can't complain about the weather, right? Like, especially since Toronto's been buried under snow for even longer than usual, I'm told.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's nice to be down here for sure.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. What would you say the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but what's in living in an American culture versus living in the Canadian culture? What's the biggest thing that like stands out between the two kind of ways people interact? And
there's a lot of big things, but I'll tell you one that was surprising to me and probably will be surprising to a lot of people. Everyone thinks Canadians are nice, but they aren't. We're polite, we're not nice. So we'll say please and thank you and sorry, and then Americans are like, oh, you guys are so nice. Actually, we fucking hate you. It's like super passive aggressive in Canada. In America, people really are nice. Like, people are so fucking genuine. You can meet someone for 10 minutes and you know their entire life story. And I think a lot of people, I mean, sort of the stereotype in European or Canadian cultures, the way that we tend to look at Americans as like, oh, that's very fake or something. But I don't think it is. I think it's super genuine, and I quite prefer it to Canadian passive aggressiveness, because like in Canada, it takes you 3 years to actually feel like you're friends with someone, because no one will actually tell you what they're thinking, you know? So I love it here that I've been here for such a short time, and I already feel like I have almost as good friends as I have in Canada, you know? I mean, it helps that I know people through battle rap already, but yeah, I appreciate that aspect of the culture for sure.
Have you spent any time in New York City? Because
New York City, yeah, maybe my comments only apply to the West Coast of the United States.
No, I was gonna say, people in New York are even more, will just tell you exactly what they're thinking at any moment.
Right.
Like,
but maybe in a more aggressive way.
Everything does sound aggressive, but it's usually just like,
I love you.
Exactly. The amount of times like I've been walking down Madison Avenue and someone just grabs me and tells me that they love me. It's
can't even count them.
I can't even count it. It's insane.
You live in your parents' garage. So when you fuck a hoe and throw her out, there's that awkward moment as the door slowly lowers. Hold on. But your home has great rewards. You don't have to ask how much rent can your roommates afford, because your roommates afford. And this is a fact. He crashed a go-kart and ripped his scrotum apart. I know what you're thinking. Why the fuck was he driving a go-kart? So tell us, what's up, Matt? It's like you rushed the quarterback and hit him with a nunchuck slap. That's a fucked up sack. Well, we can only hope that it damaged his sperm. If he was Scarface, all he would have is his word.
So, do you still keep up with battle rap?
Yeah, I think this is true for a lot of people, especially a lot of veterans. I kind of go through waves of it where I'll be pretty out of touch for a while and then come back around and get super up on everything again and then sort of let it drift.
So what part of that wave are you
So
in right now?
I'm like on the upswing of like learning about what's been going on, which is great. Like we just did a watch last night of John versus Big K, and I was
John was really happy about it.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
great.
loved it.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, shout out to John. Thank you for appreciating what we do.
That's that Canadian passive aggressiveness.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. See, that's why Americans think Canadians are so funny, because we're just being like low-key dicks all the time. But yeah, so like that's something where I kind of knew the backstory behind it, so I was really excited to watch the battle. So I'm back in the state where I actually know what's happening enough to kind of know the stakes and the storyline behind battles. So that's always a fun place to be, but I feel like you can only keep your sanity for so long being up to date on every single thing that's happening.
You can watch that happen with people.
Yeah.
Like people online
you can see
that
where
I
they
talk
lose
to,
it.
if they've been watching battle rap intensely for too long, then they kind of start
right.
It starts fraying their minds a little bit. When you watch battle rap now, what's like the biggest difference between from what like when you started, if you got transported today and you watched Big K versus John today,
right.
what would be the biggest thing that would kind of fray your mind?
I mean, honestly, I think the biggest change is that when I started, we used to be, and this is a symptom of battle rap was really segregated. I mean, to be blunt about it, like there was kind of the coming from freestyle thing that I did, and then there was like the New York street smack style of battling, which was just a totally different thing. So I think this is a symptom of those two things now having merged pretty much, which is amazing and has really progressed the culture. But what I would be surprised about is when I was doing it, especially in the beginning, we were always like super direct with each other. Like it was about insulting the guy in front of you. That was the whole goal. And as people were fond of pointing out, like often we weren't even on beat. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of stuff was secondary to actually just insulting the guy.
No one's ever said that about you.
No, I know. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it was always about just insulting the person in front of you, right? Yeah. And now it's really about rapping, and the insults are more just like peppered in. It's kind of like the icing on the cake, or like used to create a big moment, but a lot of it is just really trying to rap better than your opponent. And that's a great development because I think it's way more sustainable. You know what I mean? Like you can only insult one particular guy for so long before all the angles are done.
And in terms of like replayability, you can only watch the same joke so many times.
Yep. So I think overall it's great, but at the same time, the roasting aspect of it is really what draws in a lot of new viewers, right? Like that's what people really relate to. You know, like working on Drop the Mic, that's what we do. It's really just roasting with like a couple rhymes, you know what I mean? Because that's what someone who has never seen a battle before will be hooked on the most. You have to really be a rap listener to understand the intricacies of what someone's doing in a modern battle. So, you know, there are positives and negatives to it. I think also that's kind of a pendulum that swings back and forth. Like, I foresee the roast aspect of it coming back to the forefront in the future, but being more combined with the focus on rapping that we have right now. So I think that there's probably a happy medium there in terms of making content that will bring new people in versus keeping that appeal to the hardcore fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think with stuff like Drop the Mic and Wild and Out and shit like that, like a lot of people that are going to be introduced to the culture are going to be introduced in the whole roasting kind of
exactly.
style,
So you'll get, and then I think what you'll get is people who love that part of it and then research real battle rap and get into it, but still keep that desire to really roast people and go in on people and find a way to combine that with rapping.
Mm-hmm. Do you think about that when you're writing a movie about battle rap and writing for a TV show about battle rap?
Yeah.
Is that when you're writing it, you're going to be introducing a huge group of people who have probably never watched battle rap before? Like, do you have that in the back of your head a little bit, or is it just kind
on Bodied? I did. On Drop the Mic, really not so much, because I approach Drop the Mic like it's really just a celebrity roast show.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing is not really rapping in.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I don't think anyone's
going
gonna watch like a James Corden battle and then like flip on Tay-Rock versus JC.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. So that one I really just look as a roast with some rhythm and rhyme to it. More so than like an actual battle. But with Bodied, I was kind of thinking like, I mean, first of all, I was really just trying to write a good movie. But secondarily, especially after it started to become a reality, I did think, man, it would be super cool if people got introduced to battling through this. And I think now, at least it seems like the release has enough hype that will be the case. And what I did with the battles in that movie, and I think what we kept even with the stuff that was rewritten by the rappers involved, so everyone really seemed on the same page, which was incredible. It was almost more of a grind time style, but updated to 2018. So there was that aspect of directly going in on your opponent, but still keeping like the intricacies of schemes and rhyme patterns and all that kind of stuff that we're familiar with. So I think it will do a lot to hopefully teach people what's good in a rap battle.
Mm-hmm. And it might not be the same scale because you don't have Eminem literally in the movie, but I mean, there's nothing else that could be said is going to be like the modern 8 Mile in a way.
Right.
Do you remember, did 8 Mile introduce you in any way to battle rap?
It didn't introduce me to battle rap, but it was certainly a big influence. I remember the first time I saw it, my English teacher actually took our English class to go see the movie.
Really?
To watch it as like, oh, this is modern poetry. He's a very, very progressive guy, obviously. So yeah, that, clearly I loved the movie from the first time I saw it. And it was a huge influence on me as it was for other people. I've been watching stuff just like Freestyle Friday on BET and that's
coming back.
So that was like, oh yeah, I just saw this on Twitter. Yeah. Which, hey, that would be super cool. I love it. That would be a great venue to kind of bring back. I mean, I hope they do it in an on-beat format because I think it would be awesome to try and bring back on-beat battles.
Yeah, I feel like freestyling on beats and those battles, those aren't going to die out completely.
No,
there's
exactly.
definitely going to be a resurgence of those a little bit.
For sure.
I had a thought, and the thought was, do you think Eminem actually beat Lotto, or do you think Lotto won? Because I have a very strong opinion.
You have a very strong opinion?
Yeah. He either lost to Lotto or Lickety Split.
Yeah. In a way, I think like Lotto kind of killed him off presence.
Yep.
Wait, you said you haven't seen Bodied?
I have not seen Bodied.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you were asking me about this because I addressed this. We addressed this
did
in
you
the
really?
movie. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There's like a whole little scene about this. But yeah, so I think Lotto got him based off presence. I think Lickety Split got him based off just like jokes. So yeah, honestly, I think he kind of lost both battles.
Man, king of the dot judging, right? Mm-hmm. So that would then segue to, and this is a pretty, this is a tough question, and I'm a little nervous to ask it, but when are we going to get the Bartone rematch that everyone's been clamoring about?
I think we all are wondering if Bartone still knows those hoes. You know what I mean? Did he keep in touch with them
or
on
is it
Facebook?
now Bartone knew those hoes?
Yeah,
is
maybe.
it past tense now?
Yeah, those hoes. He hardly knew ye. You know.
That should be your second feature film. It's just the chronicles of Bartone's acquaintance with hoes.
You know, hey Kyle, here's an idea for you. You should do a documentary on all these like quirky battle rap figures from the past, like a "Where Are They Now" thing.
Bartone.
Yeah, Bartone. You know, Deuce Leader, just like all these guys. You know.
Yeah, where are they now? You know,
Yeah.
Bartone was a child actor.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like a successful child actor. He was
Wow.
in something big. I think it's a Canadian television show too.
Right.
But yeah, he has an IMDb page.
That's amazing. See, I come from the era where we like didn't look up our opponents on social media and stuff because that was like a bitch move. So yeah, I did not know that.
When did that start being a thing? When did you start having to research your opponent?
I don't know. Well, I remember Ilmac had a whole angle against Madness where he was like boasting about not researching him. He was like, I didn't Google MySpace or YouTube this bitch once. A line, something like
My
that.
internet was out for 3 weeks.
But so now the thing is, I think like, do you even have to research your opponent? You just kind of know everything about your opponent already,
Yeah,
right?
that's
If
true.
you're tuned into what's happening in the scene.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you don't have to look anything up. It's just kind of all known at this point. Which in a way, like I think that era in between was kind of awkward, where you would be trying to expose people.
Oh, I hated that era so much.
It's like, I know a secret about you. It's like you put his name in Google. Like it's not that much of a secret.
And even the stuff where it was like I think Caustic told Cortez that he like ate someone out or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, all right.
No, but it was that he couldn't get it up.
Oh, he couldn't
and
get it
then
up.
he had to eat someone out. Which, you know, I could see the shame in that, but like
It still has a battle rap angle. It's kind of
yeah.
Flaccid dicks.
I definitely didn't want to hear about it for a full verse, I'll say that.
Yeah. Let's see. So, what have you been watching recently?
What about like in
like
terms of
TV,
battles or in terms of
movies,
TV?
anything.
I've been watching Jessica Jones season 2, which I would not recommend.
Really? I liked the first season.
I really liked the first season, so I've been quite disappointed by the second season. I saw the movie Annihilation, which was actually
I
super
really wanna see
good,
it.
and I would highly recommend.
That's the director of Ex Machina, right?
Ex Machina, Alex Garland,
Yeah.
which like I feel like it's my destiny to work with him because our names basically rhyme and are almost the same.
Yeah, if
like
your last
Alex Garland, Alex Larson,
Yeah,
like
you got a multi going there.
yeah, exactly. we got to do it. But yeah, it's, you know, it didn't. I think I might have said this on the stream last night, or maybe I said it to you after the stream. But you know, it didn't change my life, but it was just a really good movie. And honestly, I can't remember the last time I just saw a really good movie. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Do you go to the movies often? And you just keep striking out? Or?
Not super often. I mean, I guess I need to like be more into it now that I'm actually in the industry and writing things. But yeah, I mean, like
You're
I
gonna
guess
fuck around and,
before
like,
that,
accidentally write La La Land.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's
never
right.
Saw it. Shit.
There's a big danger of that, I gotta tell you. The last thing I saw before that was pretty good was The Shape of Water, but Shape of Water is also just like fucked up. Like Guillermo del Toro is the greatest troll of all time for making the Academy give Best Picture to a movie about a woman fucking a fish man. Like that's what the movie is about.
I haven't seen it. Does she fuck
She
the fish
fucks
man?
the fish man. Not only does she fuck the fish man, there is an extended fantasy sequence where she does an old Hollywood dance number in black and white with the fish man, with like a band playing behind them and stuff. Yeah, it's weird as fuck. Like I actually enjoy it more now in retrospect because it won Best Picture, just because I think that's hilarious. And it was an enjoyable movie to watch, but it was also just mildly unsettling.
Do you think now, maybe if there's a body too, there will be a fish battle rapper? That
Yes,
could maybe
absolutely.
Come shake
You know,
up the scene a little
like
bit?
we Bodied is all about breaking down barriers and kind of showing racial oppression in America through the lens of battle rap. So now we need to address the pressing issue of fishman oppression. Clearly, that's
We
the next
oppressed
move.
the hell out of fish.
Yeah, yeah.
They have no rights.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you, do you think
Yeah.
Shape of Water should have won Best Picture?
No, Get Out should have won Best Picture.
Get Out,
Obviously.
yeah.
Clear. I mean, Get Out is like, to me,
It was Get Out and then 3
maybe
Billboards
even
for me.
like top 10 movies of all time. So clearly should have won Best Picture.
Did you see 3 Billboards?
I didn't see 3 Billboards.
I liked it too.
I loved
My
it.
homegirl said she didn't like it very
A lot. It's a very
It's
controversial
polarizing,
movie,
right?
Yeah.
That was fucking great.
Which is strange. I think it's a lot of it is because people they wrote a racist character, and he kind of redeems himself a little bit.
Right.
But it's whether you think that the film keeps like a skeptical distance of him, or if they're trying to make you sympathize with this racist cop who does admittedly terrible things.
You ever see The Woodsman
No.
with Kevin
Like
Bacon?
No.
He's a pedophile in it.
Oh, really?
And the controversy in it is you empathize with him kind of near the end of the movie.
Oh, really?
Everybody's like, how could you empathize with a pedophile? You know, we see like, you know, he's like an addict of sorts. He has mental illness, so it's like you begin to empathize with him near the end. And you're like,
I mean, isn't the thing that you're supposed to empathize with everybody? Sympathizing and empathizing is different. Like, empathizing is just being like, okay, you're a human being.
You're a human.
Yeah.
You're fucking terrible.
Yeah, you do terrible things, but
right.
Okay, you're a human being.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was not an endorsement of pedophiles.
You heard it. You heard it here, folks, on Free Beer. We endorse pedophiles.
And today's sponsor. Yeah, no, don't. Shit. How do I segue out of that one? What?
We can edit this out, right?
No, how young were you when you did your first rap battle?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah, fuck it.
How young was I when I what?
Did your first rap battle?
Did my first? I guess I was 19.
Oh.
Yeah.
So an adult.
Yeah, you know. That's drinking age in Canada, so it's fine. Yeah, it's weird. I'm like fucking 31 now. That was 12 years ago. That's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Well, was it like a kind of free to enter?
Yeah, it was. Kind of it was an on-stage freestyle battle. You can actually look up videos from the first battle that I ever entered. If you look up Kid Twist versus Dominance, that was like my first battle that I did ever. It's online. And Kid Twist versus Prolific 1, which also has footage online, was from that event too. So that was the first battle I ever entered.
Check. Yo, you're about to get dismissed. Mr. Sick Dish, you're about to get stirred quick by Prolific. So guess what? I blaze the melody. Why the hell am I here battling against fucking Jamie Kennedy? And yo, I'm moving. Yo, I'm scared to sterile. Yo, you should stop buying your clothes at American Apparel. Yo, you got to listen. I have the recognition. I'll throw you on the camera and on the television. Because yo, I have the fine joy. Yo, I'm gonna beat you in the fucking battle of the corny white boys. Yo, we stay here. It's how we do this. I'm about to serve this cat. You can't even make music.
Yo. I'm telling you that this MC's crack, the grunge era called, and they want your fucking jeans back. Yo, I burst your brain, cause I'm a fucking shotgun and he's Kurt Cobain. Yo, you know that I got it locked down. Every time I spit on the mic, it's hot now. Look at his acne, he needs a whole oxy case. It looks like he must wash his face with toxic waste. I don't snap for my vinyl rap, cause this is real hip hop, this is Spinal Tap. Yo, you know I got some bean clothes on me, so go home and listen to some emo.
So you and Prolific obviously had 2s and 3s there.
Yeah, no, we had 3 battles.
A trilogy.
Prolific 2 is online. I don't think Prolific 3, me versus Prolific 3, is online anymore.
What was your record?
Well, the first one, he officially beat me according to the judges, but
so you agree, obviously.
Everyone online said that I won, and the one judge who voted for me was PvP. Of course, later went on to help found King of the Dot. So, you know, I think I had the credible judge on my side, you know.
Yeah.
The second one, he legitimately beat me, and then the third one, I really beat him, and he never battled again. So, you know. But shout out to Prolific. Like, he's making music and stuff like that now. So, yeah, it's good. It's always cool to see battlers, you know, continue rapping in other forms. And
What happened to Big Mac? I
don't know. I haven't heard anything about Big Mac.
You and Poor Rich was the first.
The first King of the Dot was me and Poor Rich. The next King of the Dot battle I did after that was Big Mac.
Who the hell was that, by the way?
He was just some dude who kind of like, it was weird. I mean, it's honestly still kind of like this, but especially then in Toronto, there was like the Toronto rap scene, and then there was the Toronto battle scene. And the Toronto rap scene at first wanted nothing to do with King of the Dot. It's like, these guys are fucking corny. They're terrible. Why would we be associated with this? It's a bad look for the city, all this stuff, right? So he was one of those guys who was sort of like, I don't know how much this was really true, but he saw himself as being part of the Toronto rap scene. And he's like, oh, this Kid Twist guy is corny as fuck. I'm just going to come kill him at King of the Dot. Which, to be honest, he actually did pretty well. But I don't think he won the battle.
Did he do pretty? I haven't watched it in a long time.
He did okay.
Did he?
For the time.
Yeah.
For being a rapper in Canada at that time, coming out of absolutely nowhere, he did okay.
You got to move the goalposts pretty far back.
Hey, man, come on.
Forward? You got to move them forward then.
He battled on Blackout 2.
No. He battled on a Blackout card?
He opened the card. Mischief.
Big Mac versus Mischief?
Yeah.
Does that exist online?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Oh, man.
First battle on Blackout. I mean, you battled that card, do you remember?
Yeah, well, I remember that he was going to come back to battle Prodigal Son, then didn't show up, and Prodigal Son, just spit his verses for the camera. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he did battle Mischief. Yeah. I think that did happen.
Shout out to Mischief Quoter. One of the best rap music accounts of all time.
You're on rap music, right, Alex?
I was on rap music, yeah.
I think that's where I saw your first battle. You posted.
Yeah, I did. I posted, Kid Twist versus Dominance and Kid Twist versus Prolific. I had my friend take those videos. I uploaded them myself and posted them on rapmusic.com. Yeah.
Kyle, do you want to just come on? No, I'm serious.
I like being like Home Improvement. Face.
He's the all-seeing eye. Well, okay. So what would you say your favorite battle that you've ever done was?
My favorite battle.
What brings out the warmest memories and the butterflies in your stomach?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously Dumbfounded is up there just because, that was my biggest one. That was super fun to do. It was sort of like the ideal size of venue and just an amazing vibe in the building. It's hard to say it's my favorite just because I went so hard on the racist angle, which now when I look back on is like kind of embarrassing.
I watched it yesterday, and I was watching it with my roommate.
Yeah.
And as both of you guys were saying stuff where I would be like,
oh shit! Yeah, to be fair, he went hard on the gay angle, so I feel like that kind of like redeemed my racistness a little bit.
It was all at least creative.
To be fair, I get a lot of, and like actually particularly in LA too, I get a lot of Asian people who just like will recognize me and come up to me like, "Oh, you're Kid Twist. You that battle with Dumbfounded. I really liked it." So I feel like I got some sort of a pass eventually.
Yeah.
But
if you were playing with just like pretty well-known stereotypes,
exactly. Yeah.
So it's not like you were.
It was jokes kind of based on these large overarching stereotypes, not like digging deep on some like race science stuff.
Yeah. If you want to see the difference, look at You versus Dumbfounded versus Disaster versus Dumbfounded.
Right.
There's a slight difference in tone.
But I think my favorite battle that's just like a great memory and still like holds up in 2018 and I can just show to anyone and they'll enjoy it is actually me versus Shuffle T.
Oh yeah, I watched that one afterwards to kind of like
good palate cleanser. It's just like good. Everyone has a great performance. It was a cool concept with like the surprise 2 versus 2, which kind of gives the battle different levels and like keeps it fresh throughout all 3 rounds. I thought I did really well. Shuffle T did amazingly. Him and Marlo were, of course, great. Me and Nameless, I thought, had really good chemistry, and that was like a surprise matchup for people to see that the crowd was really excited about. Just a lot of good stuff in that battle. I'm proud of it. And honestly, when people say, "Oh, you're a battler," like they, someone I work with or something who finds out about it, that's the one I give them to watch first, just because it doesn't have a lot of the homophobic and racist content we would use in the past, and it's just a fun battle to watch. It's a good vibe, and you can get what battling is about and then go deeper into the more hardcore aspects of it after that, you know?
It's shuffle tea. Whack flavor, tiny balls, call him bubble tea. But his accent exaggerated novelty, so never call him subtlety. I'll make them reminisce over you. You're in trouble, T. You'd probably be a wife beater if you only had the muscle, T. He's the king of comedy, but only because I passed it down to him. So once I disembowel him, I'm taking back my crown again, and I can tell you how this ends. As the second battle in which we see you spit some bad bars and throw the towel in. Shuffle sucks. You only play the Joker card so you don't shuffle much. Plus, you're a motherfucking muggle blood from Hufflepuff. You think Shuffle's tough? He's nothing much. I'm more seasoned and skilled than you. The hardest part is that I have to look at me when I'm killing you.
So, back in like grind time, early King of the Dot days, there was a lot of that like racial, gay joke, fat
right.
joke.
I need a beer for this one.
So it's transitioned away from that.
Right.
Your movie is about your movie is about kind of how battle rap is a place where you can say whatever. And stuff. But I think that's still true. But people choose not to really do that anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it's because it's a played angle, or people are just kind of like not about that kind of shit anymore?
I don't know, man. That's a very good question. I think that the predominant influence in battling has sort of shifted. When I first got into it, especially the segment of battling that I was involved in, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, it was coming from more of a roast angle. Like, I feel like it was really influenced by, first of all, freestyle culture, but also comedy culture. Like,
roasts were a big thing at the time.
Yeah,
like, those were big TV events.
When someone who was a big influence on me getting involved in the World Rap Championship specifically was Marv One, because when I saw how him and Quest were like using this like super comedy angle to just kill people in battles.
Marv One's sitting down.
Just like, sitting down and killing people with like these
these
throwaway jokes. That was incredible to me. So. I think there was a different influence there. And then freestyle culture as well. When you're freestyling, you really just have what you're looking at to go off of. So that's, it's a lot easier to draw on stereotypes when you have 30 seconds to look at someone and then you have to come up with a joke about them, right?
Yeah. Whereas if you have like a month to research and it's like,
right.
All right, so the farthest your research went was that he's
Asian.
He is Asian and a little fat.
Right. Yeah. So there's a different structure to it. There are different influences there. Now I think like when the battle rappers that people look up to and what they think about when they think about wanting to get into battling, they're looking at URL, right? Like everything is much more influenced by sort of a street culture of wanting to seem hard and be self-aggrandizing. And it's, I think the positive aspect of that is it becomes not as much about drawing on stereotypes to insult your competitor. It's about really trying to prove that you're better than them. So I think it's become almost more of a sport in that way, which is cool.
Yeah, it definitely emphasizes more of the form than the content, which I think is better.
Yeah,
because I don't know, like content. What I've always thought about like bars and jokes and stuff like that is that it's a lot easier to write or have those.
Yeah,
I mean, you could literally buy them.
Right,
you can buy them off of people and then just have them. But like if you to actually be like the best battle rapper in the world, basically, you have to be able to actually like do the battle rap motions and delivery and like different syntax and shit like that. So yeah, I like the way it's gone.
Right. No, definitely.
Let's see. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Trying to get these last drop the mic battles film. We have we have 4 days left of shooting. I'm here for 2 more weeks. We're filming 4 days, 2 days a week, and there's some battles that still have to be booked. So I'm intrigued to see what celebrities they get to come through, and then.
So James Corden hit my phone.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been a fun process. I'm just kind of looking forward to finishing it up.
How do those kind of get written and done and everything? Like how much time is there between like booking the celebrity and then writing it?
It all kind of depends. I heard that last year it was really kind of crazy last minute a lot of the time. We've been getting a lot more notice now because I think they've refined their process a little bit. And also just people know what the show is now. Like they can give them a link to a clip and they'll be like, oh, this is what it is. So it's a lot easier to either get people to say yes or get them to say no right away. But basically they book the matches. They say, hey, here are the 2 people battling each other. We write a bunch of angles, then put a battle together. It goes through like a couple drafts and revisions and stuff. But then it has to go through like crazy levels of approval, right? Because so the executive producers, of course, have to approve it. The network has to approve it. And both people competing in the battle have to approve it, like to approve their side and what they're saying to make sure they're comfortable with that, and to approve what their opponent is saying about them to make sure they're not hitting anything that's like too sensitive or like, oh, this is going to be really bad for my brand or something like that. So there's like, it's a very multi-step process.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't want to get stretched in here. I'd break your neck, but you ain't had a neck in years. So Mix-a-Lot, you're going against the best. It's clear. Baby got back, no baby got breast. It's weird. He don't like that. So we trying to talk and provoke me. I heard you trying to lose weight. Try walking karaoke. You don't know me. Leave the rap to the professionals. And James keeps a rap with extra chicken and some vegetables. All right.
Have you had any of the stuff you've written shot down by the opponent because it hit too close to home?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Because I'm not.
I'm sure you can talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I obviously can. I'm just a lowly writer, so I'm not. Once the process gets to that level, I'm not privy to all the stuff that goes on. But yeah,
Do you get to like meet the people on the show?
Yeah, we usually don't meet them. What I'm doing is a little bit different than what Roan was doing because he was also coaching people. I'm not doing that just because they have more of a budget for coaches, so they're getting a lot more real battlers to come in and be coaches on the show.
Who are some of those people?
Like Hollow was there, Satire's been there, Iron Solomon's been there, Intuition, Mers was there, which is crazy. Thesaurus is coming next week. Yeah, probably a couple other people over the next couple.
So
weeks.
They really cycle in a bunch of different people.
Yeah, exactly, which is awesome. Oh, Awkwards was there, which is cool.
What do you think why cycle in a bunch of people instead of having a couple of people on retainer?
I think it's just people's availability. You know what I mean? Because otherwise they just have to rely on people who live in LA, which obviously there are plenty that they could get, but I think they just want to have variety of different perspectives and different approaches and kind of pair people together with who they think they would work well with and all that kind of thing.
And I guess the show wouldn't be as good if like everybody came out and rapped.
Yeah, they have the exact same style. Yeah, you want a variety of styles in your celebrity rapping.
Exactly. If I tune in, I'm like, that she sounds just like Katie Holmes.
Yep.
Who's been the most fun to write for?
Oh man.
Either like writing question. For them to say or writing to attack somebody.
I don't know. I don't know when this is going to come out. I don't know if I can like be announcing who we have on the show. But I guess we can just edit it out if it doesn't come out before this drops. Let's see. Man, what was a really fun one? Probably like one of the very early ones that I wrote. There's a battle. We have Gabriel Iglesias versus Luis Guzman. So I wrote we kind of like just pair off and like each write a side of a battle. But we all contribute to every battle, but there's sort of like one person who's mainly responsible for each side. So I wrote about Luis Guzman, which is pretty hilarious. It was definitely enjoyable.
You should write bars calling out the other guy for having a ghostwriter.
Yeah, totally. That's actually amazing. That would be so good.
I heard that you got a ghostwriter. You want to know how I know why? My ghostwriter is your ghostwriter.
We have the same ghostwriter.
Boom. So when is Body coming out?
I mean, all I have to mention, I wish I could make a more concrete announcement about this, but Bodied is coming out this year. It will be in theaters.
Yeah,
it's been officially picked up by YouTube Red, so it will be streaming on YouTube Red. But they're doing a theatrical release for it first, which is incredible. It'll be the first movie that YouTube has put in theaters.
That's pretty monumental.
That's really big for us because that means they'll push it, obviously. So we're really excited for that. I wish I knew the date. Joseph's the guy who is in control. He's in the loop with everything. I ask him every time I see him, when's the movie coming out? He doesn't know. I don't know. But as soon as we do know, everyone will know. So
great.
Rest assured, we will be shouting it from the social media rooftops as loud as we can. But yeah, Bodied coming this year. Drop the Mic comes back on TBS April 15th. So check that out. If you guys didn't know, if you haven't seen it before, it's hosted by Method Man. So if nothing else, watch for Method Man because he's fucking hilarious on it.
He's one of my favorite rappers ever.
Dude, he's
like the coolest sounding.
Okay, there was a day. So one of the other writers on the show, my friend Joel, he had brought like a bunch of people to come see the taping on this day, which was the perfect day to do it because it was like me, Satire, Iron Solomon, couple other guys, and Method Man backstage, and we were just like talking about battles, and Method Man just like got inspired to start rapping and just starts rapping this verse he had written, obviously recently, like it's not a verse that I've heard anywhere. And Joel comes by with his friends and they're like, holy shit, Method Man just like raps backstage at this show. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
This happens every day.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So yeah, that was a privilege to be there to watch. It was cool as hell.
He seems like he's an actual fan of the scene.
He is. He knows everything about battling. He's super in tune with it. And he's also just a great guy. Like he tries to make everyone on set feel like comfortable and happy. He like takes his duties as a host really seriously. He's like, this is my show. I'm going to make sure everyone's taken care of. And it's awesome. Yeah. Just an amazing guy to work with.
That's awesome. All right. Well, this was great. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Good luck with everything.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Keep looking good.
I want to ask you a question, Alex.
Yeah, what's up?
What do you got coming up next, like after Bodied?
After Bodied?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I don't know if I can announce. I don't think I can announce anything yet. All I'll say is Joseph and I are working on multiple follow-ups to Bodied. So you will be hearing more from us right after that.
Excellent.
Yeah.